We're a great nation.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Happy New Month to everybody. And for those of us in Nigeria, happy Independence Day. Well, today is Nigeria's Independence Day. If you don't know, possibly you are watching from Cameroon, Zimbabwe, or somewhere else. Nigeria is celebrating its 58 years of independence today. We just here to just share some of the thoughts around about Nigeria and the hopes that are thereafter. I have with me in the studio as my co-presenter, my name is Korede Akitunde, and I also have to my right side, Charles.
Welcome, so happy independence.
And
happy independence to Nigerians.
All right. And I have Smart. Yeah.
Thank you. Happy Independence Day to you too.
All right. Thank you very much. We wish everyone happy independence. How is the mood today? I wouldn't know. Let me say what. I think coming on the way, I just noticed that there are a lot of preparations at the Eagle Square, and well, I wouldn't know if that is the mood of every Nigerian.
You can be rest assured there are agitations, there are reactions everywhere from across Nigeria, from the happenings all around. But it's independence.
And, well, let me say that I think the weekend was a bit occupied for me too. I was at a wedding on Saturday of one of the daughters of one of our boss here.
Yeah.
And, I think it was good. I saw you, sir.
Yeah, I was there too. Basically talking about the independence. One question has been in my mind. Yeah. If indeed we have any reason to celebrate it. And the whole thing is yes and no. Yes, because we are alive. And despite all the struggle and all that has happened, Nigeria is still one.
Still united, exactly.
But then at the same time, there may not be reason to celebrate because are we celebrating poverty? I'm talking about the weekend, sir. It was a little bit busy for me, but something happened very, very good. Friday night around 10 o'clock, a member called me that the wife is in labor.
Wow.
So I rushed there, pray for them. On reaching the cathedral for the power night, he called me that she have delivered. Wow. So it's been awesome. And after that was when we moved to the wedding the following day. Wow. Came back for confirmation class and all that, and prepared for service. So it was full,
so
but wonderful.
How was the service yesterday?
Yeah. In fact,
celebrating Nigeria?
Yes, it was a cultural harvest.
Oh.
And then various tribes came together to perform, wearing their own costumes and all that. So it was colorful and wonderful. Yeah. So that was like marking Independence Day for us in the church. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've all that. Charles, how was your weekend?
Wow, my weekend Saturday pretty much occupied, and I think we had lots of activities coupled with the wedding you talked about.
Okay,
yes, so I was there. Yeah. And then yesterday also. But we thank God we're here today.
Independence. Yeah. Yes, it's independence, and just now we'll look at the newspapers, and from there we'll continue from there. So let me just go and take a cup of tea while I allow you to continue with the newspaper review. Okay. Well, stay tuned, because I know you will enjoy this program. It's Nigeria at 58, and we're going to be assessing all areas. So get a glass of cup, or let me say a cup of water, and get your family seated. Today will be loaded on ACNN. So I want you to trust that with us here. And so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thank you for staying tuned, and happy independence one more time. Now I want to look at what the papers have to say today, the first day of October, Independence Day in Nigeria. So, Canon Smart, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's take a look at Nigerian Tribune first, then we go to others.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, quickly. On Nigerian Tribune front page, we have minimum wage. I think it's been a talk of the will I say town now, country for some days now. Okay, so he said Labour calls off warning strike to resume meeting with the FG on 4th of October.
Yeah, I think it is important that the federal government should look at that seriously. Exactly. Because if the Constitution said it should be reviewed after 5 years, it's very, very important that they should look at it. Although, talking about the 18,000 now, people are not even, the governors are not even able to pay.
Yes.
So, but then, if there is, where there is will, there will be a way. So they should look at it and take it seriously.
Yes, you know, I've been thinking, why has it been hard for the federal government to do something on this minimum wage? I think the call for a change has been on.
There has been misplaced of priority. The cost of governance is so high. The other day I was driving at the airport road and one of the big men passed. Guess how many cars were in that convoy? Almost 20 for one person.
I can imagine.
And all those cars, once they get to filling station, they must be filled. And all that. So it's unfortunate. So the high cost of governance is not necessary. Why can't a governor use just 3, one at the back, one in the front, and he's in the middle, and then make things easy?
Exactly.
So until we look at those areas to cut costs, it will be somehow difficult.
Wow. Okay. Let's go on. Lagos APC. Ambode Tinubu Sanwo-Olu in fiery exchanges.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at the details. Sanwo-Olu not fit for Lagos. He was arrested in US for spending fake dollars. He was rehabilitated in Bagada General Hospital. Governor alleges. That's Ambode speaking now. Then governor's allegations inaccurate, shameless, untrue. That's Sanwo-Olu replying Ambode. Tinubu endorses Sanwo-Olu, says Ambode deviated from Lagos master plan. Wow.
Yeah, I think talking about this very important headline, I think that Lagos is too exposed and wise to allow a certain individual to dictate to them who becomes their governor. Year in, year out, one person must anoint you before you become governor. I think that this thing that is happening is for a purpose, and I'm glad that it's happening, because very soon now, maybe it has come, there is an end to an era here.
Exactly.
Where people can now begin to choose their own person who becomes their governor, not some certain individual.
Okay, we also have the House of Reps in Lagos. The House of Reps caucus endorses Sanwo-Olu. councillors reaffirm support for Abuja. So we are seeing a divided house now.
Exactly, the house is divided. So the primaries, eventually when it takes place,
yes,
we will be able to know.
As regards that, we got this morning that the primaries have been shifted.
Shifted again.
Yes. Anyway, let's move on. Another 5 killed in Plateau as violence spreads. 7 killed in Benue.
Yeah.
So the killings are still on.
The killings are still on. It is unfortunate if the primary responsibility of the government is to protect life and properties of the citizens. And then these things are happening every day. I don't know where we're going. You could see why I say we might not have reason to celebrate. In fact, I watched a clip of students running helter-skelter yesterday in the University of Jos because of this same crisis.
Wow.
So we are not dead. We are not there yet.
Wow. Okay, coming to primaries now. Explosion in Port Harcourt as APC conducts parallel Guba primaries.
And there again. There we go again.
Okay, let's move on. Nigeria at 58. Nigeria on unstoppable progress. That's Pastor Kumi talking. As Osibanjo invokes God's blessing.
So they are praying, right? You see, that is what we love to do. Nigeria is a very religious country. We are fond of praying, praying for everything. You see, if prayer can do everything for us, Nigeria will have been the most enviable nation in the world.
Exactly.
We must work and change certain orientations and determine that things should get better. We shouldn't just stop at praying.
We should do the work.
But prayer is very, very important.
Very
really.
nice, but we should do the work.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all from
Nigerian Tribune.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let's go to the nations. We also have some very interesting headlines here.
Okay.
One of them is 10 feared death in just violence. You could see that
there's
we
a
have
discrepancy here.
Yeah,
right
what do we have?
We have 5 killed in Plateau here, where we have
10.
Wow.
Then number 2, independence, Nigeria on the right path, says Buhari. Are we really on the right path?
I think
Charles, what do you think?
That's left for Nigerians to say.
That is why I'm asking you as a Nigerian, if we are on the right path.
Let's ask Nigerians. Nigerians, are we on the right path? Okay.
Right, then they repeated the headline there. Tinubu bags Sanwo-Olu for Lagos State APC ticket. Then here also we have governorship candidates from various states,
yes,
APC and PDP. Yes. We have Adebayo Adelabu Oyo, APC, Nasiru El-Rufai, Kaduna, APC, Abubakar Bello Bauchi, APC, Sheyi Makinde, Oyo, APC. I mean PDP.
Okay.
Nyesom Wike, Rivers, PDP. Okeze Ikpazu, Abia, PDP. Dan Iya Sokoto, PDP. Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, Enugu, PDP. Ben Ayede, Cross River, PDP. David Umahi, Ebonyi, PDP. And we also have Umar Nasco, Udom Emmanuel, Akwa Ibom, PDP, and Sima Ekere, Akwa Ibom. Wow. So these are basically what we have in the nations.
Results of the primaries.
Yeah, the result of the primaries.
Just before we move on to the next one, can you? Is there? We can see there most of the incumbent governors emerging winners of the primaries.
Yes, it's like you know, Nigeria, according to the constitution, you can contest for the second time. You have 4, and if you do well, you can also have another 4. So that is what is playing out here. It's like they're giving them opportunity for continuity. That is, if they have done very well, they should continue on the good work they've done before. So Nigerians will decide if they will come for the second time or not.
Exactly. Okay, let's move on to Punch. Punch has some of the headlines we already read on the other papers. So, okay, I can see an independent speech from Buhari here. I will continue to work for a united Nigeria. Buhari promises.
Has he been working for United Nigeria?
I'll still leave that to Nigerians to answer.
Well, personally, with what I'm seeing, I don't think so. I stand to be corrected.
Wow.
We are not working, he is not working for United Nigeria because certain parts of this country is favored over the other. And if you can remember his statement in one of his trips abroad, that those who gave him 97% will not be the same thing with those who gave him 5%. And that has always played out since he started. So telling us that he will work for the unity, well, I don't know whether he's lobbying, we should give him 2019 so that work
maybe
for the
way unity we understand is not the same one.
Oh, that he's referring to, right?
Okay. All right, let's move on.
Here with me is Daily Sun. And we have Governorship Primaries 2019. Erufai Nasco Bello Wike wins ticket. Okay. Then we also have another one. They say APC posting fake primary results for Buhari. And is the major opposition party that is saying this. PDP. What do you think? Because from some of the clip I watched, the way they were doing this counting, and some of the total number of voters coming from the state is alarming. Very, very high. It's as if in the whole Kano, if you remember the last election, 2015, Kano got 2-point-something million votes, right?
Exactly. Think one
as a whole, voting for president, 2-point-something million votes. Now APC alone is having 3.9. Wow. Does it mean everybody in Kano is a member of APC? So it's as if that is something is
PDP might not be wrong after all.
Yeah, of course. Then APC presidential primaries, Kalu's LG, that is local government, gives Buhari highest vote. Nigeria at 58. No quick fixes, shortcuts to thriving democracy. Buhari is saying this, and the question is, how long does he need to fix some of the things that he need to fix?
Oh my God! Reports said recently that if we are not careful, we might be sliding back into recession. So I don't know, is the current administration, are they really fixing? Is there progress? According to what he said, probably is lobbying for more time.
Exactly. They will always tell you that it's not easy to fix what has been. You understand that language? Exactly. It has spoiled over time, so we are coming to fix it.
We've heard the blame games all over and all over. And Nigerians expected, they voted, and they are expecting, they expected, and they are still expecting results.
Yes.
Results.
When they give you opportunity, they are not giving you opportunity to give excuses. They give you opportunity to come and correct the wrong.
Exactly.
That has been there to make it right. Things that were wrong, make it right, and stop giving excuses.
Okay. Also in Vanguard here, Independence Day Interdenominational Church Service had lots of people in attendance. We had the head of Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Winifred Oyoita, Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen, and his wife. Then we have former head of state, Governor Yakubu Gawon. We had Vice President Osibanjo and his wife. They were there. The secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, was also there. What do you think this means for Nigeria?
Well, it's good that whatever we do, once in a while, we come together to pray and ask God for direction, just like David did when there were problems. David, the Bible says that David inquired of the Lord. Yes. In 1 Samuel 30, verse 8, David inquired of the Lord, and God said, please go ahead, pursue, overtake, and recover.
Okay, let's just run because of our time. 2019, Benue stands still for David Mark as Kwankwaso vows to end insurgency. in his Independence Day message.
Yeah.
Well, Unai Emery hails Iwobi. That's our own Iwobi there.
Yeah,
and
it's good to hear that our own is being hailed.
Exactly.
So probably he's doing well there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Mourinho could be sacked this week. Wow. Wow. This season has not really been good for
he's
Mourinho
been having
and Man U.
relationship problems with the players, and that is what you can get when there is a division in the house. The house will fall. So I won't be surprised if he's sacked, because you have to manage these people. You are not just the boss. You are like a father figure. These people are under you, so you manage them. You are a manager, so try to manage them, and then don't begin to fight with players in public. And that is what you can get when players discover that our coach does not value us.
Okay, Guardiola plots £200 million Mbappe swoop in January.
200 million pounds. Can we change that into naira?
Okay.
It's like my son will play football.
Maybe I need to go play football myself.
It's over for you. You are an old man now.
All right. Women's World Cup, FIBA presidents thumbs up for the Tigers. They have really been doing well recently.
They have progressed very well.
Yes.
That's good. Kudos to them.
Okay, that's that on major newspaper headlines that we have here. Okay, moving on to the Independent, we want to play you a video of the history of Nigeria, spanning from the pre-colonial eras. So please stay tuned. Remember, we have a lot in stock for you.
Nigeria, the most populous nation in Africa, with nearly 200 million people, a variety of spoken languages, including the third largest English-speaking population on Earth, has a long history stretching back to the oldest identified civilization in West Africa, known today as the Nok culture. They were master sculptors in a variety of materials, ranging from terracotta to bronze. The Nok were centuries ahead of their neighbors, and were smelting iron weapons by at least 550 BC, and perhaps as early as 1000 BC. This enabled the Nok to hold influence over an area northeast of the Niger River, as large as modern-day France. Although little is known about the Nok, their trade routes exporting bronze and gold reached all the way to Western Europe. Unfortunately, since the 1970s, there has been a large amount of looting of Nok sites. In the 1990s, some crews employed over 1,000 diggers each day, with Nok sculpture showing up in Europe, the US, and Japan. The Nok disappeared as mysteriously as they arrived. However, their knowledge in sophisticated metallurgy and mining techniques would be passed down to successor civilizations. The powerful Yoruba city of Ife would perfect casting techniques, creating realistic portraits of their nobles and leaders that have survived till today. The sophisticated level of realism captured in metal, not seen since the classical world, would not be matched elsewhere until the Italian Renaissance. Ife was ruled by Oni, a line of divine kings said to be descended from a god. The last prince of the Yoruba city of Ife would found the Oyo kingdom that reached its height around 1400 and maintained long-distance trading routes, protected by the kingdom's formidable cavalry force. To the southwest, the Edo people of the Empire of Benin would also learn metallurgy techniques from the Ife, and constructed one of the most impressive feats of engineering and the largest earthenware structure ever erected, the Walls of Benin, which enclosed an area of over 2,500 square miles. In all, over 9,000 miles of walls comprise this megastructure. Combined with their formidable military, it is no wonder why the Kingdom of Benin was incredibly stable and prosperous over such a long period of time. To the north of Edo, according to legend, was a kingdom ruled over by a line of female queens, one of whom married an adventuring hero from Baghdad in modern-day Iraq. Their sons would rule over a collection of powerful city-states. Over the centuries, Hausaland would unite for short periods of time. However, squabbling and intrigue was the norm. Throughout this period, they maintained amicable relations with the Mali Empire, their economic competitor to the northwest. where many Islamic clerics migrated from to join the courts of the Islamic urban elite of the Hausa kingdoms. The Igbo kingdom of Nri was ruled by a priest king, and expanded its territory through sending converts to spread their faith in surrounding cities and towns. The kingdom reached its furthest extent between 11 and 1400. Encroached upon by the rise of Benin, and later the Atlantic slave trade, it appears to have maintained its authority well into the 16th century, and remnants of the religious hierarchy persisted until the establishment of colonial Nigeria. Jukun and Igala were two other formidable kingdoms that arose in the 14th century, and by the 16th, Igala was waging war on the kingdom of Benin, challenging their long-time supremacy in commercial trade in the region, and with the arrival of the Portuguese, became involved in the inception of the transatlantic slave trade. From the 1500s through 1800s, many of the kingdoms in this region became extremely wealthy through the trade in precious metals and slaves. However, as the abolishment of the slave trade became widespread throughout the Western world, their fortunes began to stagnate. In 1804, the Sokoto Caliphate would conquer and unite the Hausa kingdoms. At its height, the Caliphate linked over 30 different emirates and was populated by over 10 million people, forming the most powerful state in the region. In its conquest, it captured approximately 2.5 million non-Muslim slaves, whom they put to work in large plantations and heavily incentivized to convert to a more comfortable life. In 1851, under the pretext of ending the slave trade in the Kingdom of Lagos, the British bombarded the city and installed a ruler they favored. 10 years later, they annexed the city in 1861, establishing the crown colony of Lagos. Lagos has been a prosperous commercial center ever since. The Royal Niger Company was established in 1879 to administer the region, and by 1900 had conquered all of southern Nigeria, destroying much of the fabled walls of Benin. The company was disestablished that same year. The Protectorate of Southern Nigeria was established, and the conquest of the Sokoto Empire began in 1900. And by 1903, all of modern-day Nigeria was under British control. The colony and Protectorate of Nigeria lasted for 46 years, and was governed through a system called indirect rule, where regional emirs and local rulers were given wide authority as long as the colonial government was allowed to conduct its business and gather taxation. In 1960, the First Republic of Nigeria obtained its independence from the British Empire, which was weakened after fighting the Second World War. In 1967, the Republic of Biafra was declared in the southeast of Nigeria, fueled by the persecution of the Igbo living in northern Nigeria, and control over the lucrative oil production in the Niger Delta played a major role in fueling this conflict that saw over 150,000 soldiers killed and millions displaced. The Civil War initiated a series of military leaders of Nigeria, lasting after the Civil War had ended with a united Nigeria. Following the assassination of General Murtala Muhammad, his successor initiated a process of disestablishing military rule and bringing back a republic. This republic was short-lived, lasting from 1979 to 1983, when it was overthrown again. After 8 years of rule by General Ibrahim, he re-established a democracy that lasted for less than a year, which was overthrown by General Sani Abacha. Abacha died mysteriously and was buried without an autopsy. His successor again re-established a democracy that has lasted till the current day.
Alright, thank you for staying tuned. It's still the Independence Day special program on ACNN, and I have a guest in the studio. Possibly you've seen his face before. There is the regular analyst, Reverend Canon Benjamin Agbejume. Well done, sir.
Thank you very much.
Happy Independence.
I wish you the same, and happy month of October.
Happy New Month.
Thank you very much.
I still have in the studio Reverend Canon Smart. Daddy,
Yeah.
we are happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
For having me.
And I have online from South Africa, I have Dr. Samuel Olaliko. He's a public analyst, software developer, and a lecturer in South Africa. Dr. Sam, I hope you are still there with us. Yeah.
Yes, I'm here with you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We just take a look into some aspect of Nigeria, looking at how we have failed for 58 years, assessing Nigeria in terms of economy, security, education, health, and infrastructure. But I think before we just go ahead, let's look at some video clip from the primates and some residents of Abuja. That should now set us on the pace. So let's go ahead and watch this.
We want to talk about the Chibok girls and Leah. You are aware of the issues at stake now, that these terrorists are becoming more and more daring and more desperate. We don't want this girl to be killed, Shaibu. We don't want her to be killed. The Chibok girls, we want to appeal to government to make more efforts to get these people released so that they can rejoin their families after so many years of harrowing experiences. We plead with the government that no sacrifice is too much to get this girl released. Otherwise, it will become a black spot in our history. Minimum wage. The Standing Committee wishes to commend the federal government for their concern for workers, especially with the move to review the minimum wage. The government is hereby urged to quickly do the needful as promised to relieve the workers and reduce the poverty level in the land. General elections. As we see 2019 drawing closer, we wish to call on our political leaders and all politicians seeking elective positions to remember that power comes only from God. In whatever we do, the peace of the nation must be preserved, because in a war situation, everybody will be affected. Nigerians are still yearning for the dividends of democracy as promised before. Therefore, new promises should be weighed against the background of available resources to ensure delivery. The Standing Committee wishes to urge INEC to work harder to make all the processes and eventual elections as smooth as possible, and to remain an unbiased umpire in this race to determine Nigeria's destiny. Whatever will disenfranchise any Nigerian should not come from INEC and should be avoided by all. We urge all eligible citizens to get ready to vote in the general elections. Your vote is your power, and your vote will count. We call on the armed forces and all other security agencies to conduct the affairs of the 2019 general elections with the future of Nigeria in mind. Finally, we call on our people not only to ensure that they vote, but to also strive for elective positions to be voted for. Not too young to run bill. The Not Too Young to Run bill was heralded with so much zest. We recognize the step as a good development at a time like this. However, as good as it may be, it is not going to solve any problems automatically. The Nigerian brand of politics has, over the years, not been on ideas and ideals. Rather, it has been driven by personality and money. Ethnic and religious biases have also played roles. With the Not Too Young to Run bill passed, we call on the young people not to be discouraged, but join in the struggle and look forward to the future with hope.
The concept independence is very varied and somehow polemic, because it depends from the angle in which you are looking at it. In a literary sense, we just say freedom. That once a country has been able to secure our independence. You said it's a sovereign nation. Then such a society or country, rather, is an independent state. Politically, as a lawyer, I know we are independent because we have instruments indicating that we are independent. But in the actual sense of it, we are yet to be independent. We are yet to be independent. In terms of economy, even when you look at it economically, we are not yet independent. We are still depending on other nations to survive. Even our economic policy must always be in tandem with the foreign policy of other nations. That shows we are yet to be independent on our own. Although the need be for foreign relations, but we depend solely on them. And once we see depend solely on another nation to survive, then the concept of independence will now be a subject of debate, whether actually we have that independence or not. The first thing we have to first of all realize that we have a problem with our nation, and the need be to restructure the system so where everybody will be happy. And until that one is achieved, we may practically find it very difficult to uphold the concept of our independence. Because independence is not just what we just wake up in the morning and said we are independent. Then we need to ask ourselves how independent we are in economy. Then we need to restructure the nation politically, economically, and in terms of our education. Our education have to be looked into as well. Let me give you an example. Most of our laws that we still have today, they were laws given to us by our colonial masters. If you are still using law of olden days, how do we expect something better of? Let me give you an example. We have changed Nigerian police uniform nearly almost 5 times. But despite the fact, we are yet to amend the law that creates the institutions. If the law is actually enacted in 1943, and we are yet to amend it up to this very moment, then how sure are we when we say we are independent? So we still rely heavily on what they gave to us. That is my own perception, sir.
The sovereignty of Nigeria is not in doubt, as per Nigeria is independent of its sovereignty. You can tell Nigerians that, oh, as far as Nigeria is concerned, we are independent of other nations. In principle, yes, we are independent. And you can, in terms of governance, we are also independent. But if you use the word whether we are independent indeed, I will say no. Because we still depend on so many other persons, so many other countries in reaching some decisions that we want to take. And so when you come to governance, we seem to be influenced by what happened in other countries to take decision on what concerns us here. When you talk about economics, the economy of Nigeria, we are not independent because we are still depending on other nations for our daily supplies. We cannot manufacture car of our own. We cannot manufacture even simplest thing that you can think that as a country we can manufacture, we can get. We are just consumers. We are not producers. So to that extent, I will say that in that area, Nigeria is not independent at all. Nigeria is not where it ought to be at 58. Someone of 58 years is already approaching retirement if it were to be in the public service. And so if at 58 we are still where we are today, then we are not really ready to grow. So at 58, one should be thinking that, oh, even though we are not somewhere where we ought to be, we should have a road map, something that will show us, okay, we have a direction. This is where we are going. And from the roadmap, you will be able to know, okay, what have we achieved? What is remaining for us to achieve? But where we are today, today we'll go forward. You see us move forward. The next day, you see us drop backward again. So we don't have a roadmap. There is no defined roadmap for Nigeria for us to be able to know, okay, this is where we are going. So even at 58, we are still migmarolling. We don't even know exactly where we want to be. Ask the people who are leading us in the next 5 years, where do you think Nigeria will be? You will discover that they cannot give you answer. They cannot just give you answer. And when you talk of development, countries move with projections. Countries move with projections. They should be able to know, okay, by the next 5 years, these are the number of students who will enter university. These are the number of students who will graduate. This is the number of available jobs that we are going to create by so number of years. So that projection is what will help a country to grow. But as we have today, we don't just understand data, information we don't have. We don't just know where we are really going. So I think I need to call on those who are leading us. Define exactly where you think Nigeria should be. At 58, we are not anywhere.
You say independence, which means you are a country of your own. You don't depend on any other countries for support or any other thing. With what is happening in this country, I don't think we've attained the status that we can be said to become an independent country. Let's start from the economy. Nigeria is now the poorest country in the world, where you have the highest number of poor people. If you take countries like Afghanistan that have been ravaged by war, the world indices has never prescribed them to become one of the most the poorest country in the world. So for Nigeria to be termed as a country that has the largest number of poor people, so I don't think Nigeria is there yet. You talk about the politics. Look at the just concluded election in Osun State. The international community have confirmed that was a charade. But you see, the Nigerian government, they are celebrating it. Even the president, to the extent of congratulating the winner. Everybody knows that was not really an election. And you say we're an independent country. What do you have to show for it? Nothing.
Well, two things. Yes, it was celebrating. One, that we are all alive to see today. 58 years is not a joke. And we really need to appreciate God for that. And no matter how bad it is, we must always give thanks to God that we are alive to see today. And I believe that whatever thing it is, it's worth celebrating. We have to thank God for it, notwithstanding. In the true sense of it, we are not independent. And many things ought to be done in order for us to be independent. And this is where our leaders comes in. They have to find, first of all, develop ideas. What would they do to make Nigeria move forward? And until when they will get that, that is only when we can say that, yes, indeed, we are independent. Unemployment is something that we cannot overemphasize. It's everywhere, especially in Nigeria. You will see a graduate coming out, there is no job. The issue of privatization of jobs, people giving jobs to the people they know. That is corruption. And that is not the essence of politics. The essence of politics is to come and govern people well, create job opportunities, and see that things are good within Nigerians so that citizens can live well. But the case is the reverse in Nigeria.
And that was the view of most Nigerians on the streets today. And I think that will set a pace of how things are going. Yes. Dr. Sam, I hope you are there. Let me just start with you. You are in South Africa, and I know that as a lecturer and a public analyst, how will you assess Nigeria at 58?
I will give Nigeria at least 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10?
Yes.
Okay, so can you expatiate more? Looking at, let me know how you have graded. Fine, thank God you are a lecturer. So let me know your marking scheme.
You see, if you look at where we are,
yeah,
although we are old, but at a point in time, Nigeria is like a man who used to be a rich person, but because of his way of flamboyant life, has squandered everything that he had. And then in the process of squandering everything he has, he went into drinking. And at age 58, he was found by an NGO, a non-governmental organization, who is specialized in rehabilitating people who are addicted to not only alcohol, but to drug abuse. So at the moment, we are currently a 58-year-old man that is going through rehabilitation. And so the stage at which that 58-year-old man is now is that he is picking up all the things that has crumbled for him. all the pieces that he has lost and is gathering them together. And we will all know that will obviously take time to rebuild. So, but looking at the progress that man has made in the past 3 years or almost 4 years that he has been on the rehabilitation drug.
Okay,
I mean, on the rehabilitation program.
You are referring to the current president as the person rehabilitating the country right now?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, now let me take you on this. Being a lecturer in South Africa and having grown up in Nigeria to your university stage and co, how will you rate the education system?
Oh, the education system in South
Nigeria.
Africa can definitely, Nigeria can definitely not be compared to what we have in South Africa. On a scale of, on a ratio of 1, I'll say it's a ratio of 1 to 100.
That's bad?
At the moment. It is very bad.
Hey. And okay, and actually this is the same Africa country, and so if we are rating 1 to 100, that's South Africa and Nigeria. Rating UK and Co should be
1 to 1,000.
It should be 1 to 1,000. Okay, Dr. Sam, let me just let me take my guest here in the studio. So, Reverend Gallo, look at the key areas of governance since the independence till now. What will you say you are seeing?
Seriously, if I have my way to advise the president, this year, October 1st, calls for sober reflection. Nigeria is supposed to be mourning. Nigeria
not jubilating.
Nigeria is supposed to be mourning and weeping, because as a man at 58, when you are supposed to be looking after your grandchildren, but rather you are still a child, a baby, being fed. Fundamentally, it means something is what is wrong. Because if you look at every segment of our national life, you will discover that it's on the downward trend. Is it education? Is it infrastructure? Is it even the corruption, the fight against corruption the president is celebrating? Look at the electoral processes in the country. Look at job creation. Look at economy. In which area of our national life? Look at security. Is the president happy that is celebrating the death of those that were massacred in Benue? Is the president celebrating those who were murdered in cold blood in Kaduna? Is the president celebrating those? Even currently as we are talking, people are still being killed in Jos. What a failure. Nigeria should be weeping. Today is supposed to be a black day for Nigeria, not a day of celebration. We have nothing to show. To me, I am seriously not happy with the president. And even the last person that commented and celebrating the president, giving the president 6/10. My brother, thank God is in South Africa telling us that comparing The education standard in Nigeria and that of South Africa is 1 to 100. Now, if you say 1 to 100, does that mean that Nigeria, because when you say 1 to 100, it's a vote of no confidence.
But you said the current president is rehabilitating.
Is the current president not part of those who plundered this country?
Okay.
No, let's...
Okay,
no.
Reverend Smart, let me take you on the... Now let's look at the issue of security. Thank God you read some parts of the newspaper where people are being killed and being killed. Should Nigeria still be passing through some of this? Now, a lot of people have said terrorism and some of these things is a global thing. So, but do you think the country has done well in terms of security? Not just even assessing this present government, but over 58 years.
Over the years. Yes. Let me start by saying that by every standard, Nigeria is a blessed nation. Okay. And we have all the resources to be the most enviable country in the world. But we are unenviable. No country in the world we envy Nigeria and want to be like Nigeria. Nothing to learn from us. I'm talking about the security. It has gone bad more than how it used to be. We were safer before than now. Because right now, even police stations are being attacked. Police are being killed.
Soldiers,
armies in Wolf or in the northeast, armies themselves are not safe. And that is why they are even committing mutiny. They will send you to go, you will say, I will not go. You want me to go and be killed? Now, if security agencies are not saved, my brother, me and you, you know how it will be. As at yesterday, day before yesterday, and today, people are being killed in Benue and Plateau State. About 14 died in Benue. Someone just used motorcycle and just came and started shooting people. That of Jos is there. Students being killed and what have you. And the government will come to tell us that Boko Haram has been technically defeated. We did not vote for government to technically defeat anything. We want them to be completely defeated.
Okay, Dr. Sam, if you are still there, I know that you were in Nigeria few weeks ago. Now let's go to the issue of infrastructure. What will you say compared to what you have over there, what you have seen thus far?
So, if the truth be told, what we have in South Africa is actually competing with what they have in the first world country. So, you cannot compare what we have in Nigeria with what we have in South Africa again. And if you look at some of the posts that I've made, I've made on social media, I've made this comparison. But I think I need to remind the Reverend that spoke earlier that Reverend is our spiritual father. And Reverend should know that there's difference between what we're doing today. That's why I try to liken Nigeria to human being. When you are celebrating your birthday, your parents, your relatives, and every other friends that you have would not be artists before, because you are this, because you are that. You should be mourning because of all the past things that have happened to you. I think the focus as our spiritual father, with all humility and all due respect, sir, should basically be encouraging somebody that is actually trying to come up into the spiritual life. And also to our second speaker. It's a work in progress. I think the mistake that we made as a nation was actually the fact that we were promised heaven and earth in 2015, and we all believe in those promises.
Exactly.
The problem that Nigeria was undergoing before 2015, if anybody follows me very well on social media, immediately after Buhari emerged, I made that very stern warning that all the problems that we are facing is not something that can be fixed in 8 years, but we need a committed person that can show commitment, which is what we are seeing in this current government. Buhari has made a lot of mistakes. His administration has made a lot of mistakes. There's no doubt about that. But you see, the truth of the matter is first government are not focusing on the good deeds that they have done. We are not going to go anywhere. That is why, because of the fact that we are focusing on the mistake, we allowed ourselves to be emotional. And because we are emotional, we are listening to every form of fake news out there. You could see there's still killing in Benue. There's still killing in Jos. There's killing in everywhere. But the truth of the matter is, most of this killing, sometimes most of them are not actually the people that we were saying that they perpetrated the killing. Most of them are not. Most of these killings are sponsored by politicians. And in political war, strategy is needed. Strategy is needed when you are fighting a political war. You don't just go back, go to people and say, you are the person that killed this person. We need a lot of evidences. But when it comes to infrastructure, this government is trying a lot, trying to build infrastructure. But the same people that this government is building infrastructure for are the same people that are saying, we don't need infrastructure, we need money, we need food, give us food. The same people that these people are fighting, the government is fighting corruption for, are the same people that say, we don't want you to fight corruption. We want you to create jobs. We want you to do this. Don't fight corruption. If you don't fight corruption, how are you going to create jobs? If you don't fight corruption, how are you going to develop infrastructure in the country? So, like I said, the truth of the matter is we are not there. We are not there yet. And for anybody to be thinking Nigeria's problem that was created, let's leave what has happened between 1960 and 1999 aside. Between 1999 and 2015 is 16 years. You think somebody that has been badly damaged for 16 years will be rehabilitated in less than 4 years? If we think so, then we are joking.
Okay, let me ask you something. You said the killings that are going on are perpetrated by politicians, but the question has been that as a responsible government, can't these people be named or be arrested?
Very correct. Very good question, sir. You see, in a democratic government, democratic government is a government in which rule of law takes a lot of processes. So if you come to my house, let us assume that I'm the one killing in Lagos. You cannot arrest me despite the fact that I'm the one killing if you don't have evidence. You keep on working on intelligence. Government does not work like we people work when we say these people are corrupt, despite the fact that we don't have evidence against their corruption. When we get to court, the court will ask for the evidence. Where's the evidence? Those are some of the things. That's why.
But do you think that the intelligence system of this country is good enough? Because, or let me say, investigative aspects, or we can also brand it as intelligence gathering. Is it strong enough? Because if for 3.5 years going to 4, you cannot just bring one person to book. How many years will it take to kill people and to get those that are killing?
Very good question, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think that is where our government, this current government, is getting it wrong. The intelligence system is totally not good enough. I'm going to be honest with that. The intelligence system is not good enough, and I think the government needs to find a way of solving that particular problem. That being said, government basically is run by the people. As people, we don't work together with the government. You say the religious body, the clan, do not work together with the government. The Muslim, I don't know the name under which they don't work with the government. The media, they don't work with the government. Khan, for instance, is always quick to go to the media. They are always quick to go to the media and show their displeasure. And how many times has Bishop David Oyedepo raised a letter inside his church, only to realize that that letter that he raised, that were purportedly written by earthmen, were fake. And that was raised by a man that commands huge respect within the country, that when he says go, almost all of us who are Christian will not say, why should we go? We'll just say, how far should we go? And this same man got a letter that was written by fake people, by people who are trying to bring the government down. And the man raised the letter inside the church and said we should pray against the letter. And after raising up the letter, about a week later, they realized that the letter was fake.
Okay. Let me come back.
It is not only
Dr. Samuel, let me just come back to the studio while you listen to us. He said the government is not doing well in terms of intelligence. Do you feel this is actually a point that should be worked on?
Well, obviously, I listened to my brother from South Africa, and I like dwelling on specifics. If you look at each area of our national life, let's look at security.
Yes.
When the problem in Benue started, the killings in Benue started, the governor then, came out to the whole world and said before the killing started, he reported to the president, to the vice president, and even to the security chiefs. Nothing was done. So it means it was deliberate. Even the threat by the Mieti Allah Association leader, the president refused to take any action. Then if you look at even when the killings were perpetrated in Benue, and the Inspector General of Police was asked to go there, directed by the president to go there, the president came out to say that yes, the Inspector General of Police that he thought was in Benue did not go to Benue. What action did he take? The Inspector General of Police is still the Inspector General of Police till today. Now, let's look at other areas of security. You look at that of Kaduna, Southern Kaduna, and all those areas that the killings are taking place. What action
has been taken? What
effort has this president taken? Now, this my brother from South Africa. Thank God he's a lecturer. As a lecturer in South Africa, under what condition and environment do you lecture your students? Now we have a president and a government that we go to school and feed children that are sitting on the floor.
Doesn't make sense.
On a very terrible and bad environment.
With open roof.
Look at our universities. Hardly you can see a foreigner in any of our all our universities have been localized. Go to Ahmadu Bello University. 99% of students here are Hausas. Look at Ife. Look at Ibadan. 99% of students you will see there are Yorubas. Go to UNN. The same thing. If people from other regions cannot patronize a university in another region within a country, do you say that there is unity in that country? Do you say Nigeria is one? You cannot even talk of seeing students from our neighboring countries patronizing our universities. Not to talk of even foreign lecturers. Now, the only areas you can see foreign lecturers, then you will talk of private universities.
Yes.
But government-owned universities, you cannot see any. So I want to ask that, my brother, because let's be realistic. And now let's look at the economy and even the fight against corruption that is talking about that the president is doing well. Now, if you look at fight, if you look at the fight against corruption, where is Mena? Some years ago or some months ago, Ibe Kashuku raised the alarm of contract awarded secretly running into billions by the group managing director of NNPC. Where is the case today? Look at that of the Minister of Finance that recently resigned. The case has been no, we can count on and on in this same government. Even the secretary to the federal government who used 200 million to cut. Where are they? What are we celebrating? We are celebrating mediocrity.
Let me take this call from Kaduna. Isaac from Kaduna.
Okay, this is your.
Are you there?
The man is deliberating on issue of university in a nation where a particular zone like APU is only the Hausa schooling there. In Lagos, the Southwest, only the Yoruba, the East, only the Igbo. It's a very, very essential issue. When you apply for admission, you will have 220, you will not be given admission in the North, while somebody in the North will be given admission with 180. Likewise to the Southwest, likewise to the Southeast. It's a very good issue. And they should talk about the issue very, very well. So to say to it finally, and let it be said to finally.
All right, thank you, Isaac from Kaduna. He's just making.
Yes. Then let's look at our electoral system because we are talking about independence.
Yeah.
In the first place, is Nigeria really an independent country? There is nothing like independence.
let me allow Canon Smart to also breeze in before we. Now look at. Let's go back to this issue of security. A lot of people have accused this government of nepotism. Previous governments too have been seen to have squandered money that are meant to save life.
Yeah.
Is there a problem in the security system?
There is a problem in the security system. Our security personnel has left the job of securing lives and properties to partisan politics.
But can it actually be their fault or the fault of the leaders who possibly doesn't give them what is right?
There is certain things in our constitution that is wrong.
Okay.
The idea of for you to become a chief security of a certain agency, you must be appointed by the president. And because it is the president that appoints you, your loyalty goes to him. I mean, this thing did not start today. Every president who appoints either chief of army staff, chief of air staff, or head of DSS, or head of Nigerian Intelligence Agency, they are all loyal to the president, and it is not right. The constitution should be amended in such a way that you grow through the ranks, you become, so that your loyalty is not to a certain person, but to the country. You should defend the constitution. You should do what is constitutionally right, not that whatever the president wants. That is what you should do, and that is why we've gotten it wrong. I want us to look at other countries of the world. Is that how they do things? How many security chiefs have Donald Trump changed? Apart from the DSS director.
The FBI.
The FBI director. How many other security men? Secretary of Defense. Has he changed any? So why is our own different?
Okay.
So everything is wrong with our security system in this country.
Now let's look at what Acnn also talked about in terms of education. None of Nigerian universities seems to be in the, I think, first 100.
Not only first 100, first 600.
Okay, before we go into that, let me take this call from Lagos. Chibweze, okay, we lost that call. Yeah, you wanted to say something, sir?
In terms of education,
yeah, everything
is wrong. Our universities have moved from half-baked to, how will I say that?
Not done.
Maybe.
Not baked.
Not baked. Because a lot of graduates that you see on the street, give them assignment and you will be surprised at what they can do. There is no doubt that a number of them are doing well. And if they go outside of this country, they are doing well. But a lot of graduates we produce in our university today. In the recent time, in the past 3 years, I've been involved in university system. You would discover that 1 point, most of them are on probation, and they will manage them like that. And they will finish with third class. But third class is always the highest number
let me just
in any convocation.
Let me just say something to support your view.
Okay.
Because in a country where the constitution says that for you to be a president, all that you require is a O level. And you even have a president that doesn't have a secondary school certificate. The one he has was forged.
Well, you can't substantiate that.
For him to
with the one we saw, it was with the recent passport.
It was forged. For him to hire 14 senior advocates to defend secondary school certificate.
Something is fishy.
Okay, now, okay, Victor from Kaduna. Are you there?
The issue of the security in Nigeria.
Okay.
The area of the security chiefs. If you measure from Chief of Air Staff, Chief of Army Staff, IG of Police, the immigration, almost all the Chief of the Air Staff are from the north. Why? It's only Fire Service and the Chief of Navy are from the other zone. The remaining Chief of the Ministry of the Security are from the north, which is very, very wrong, and Nigeria should look into it, because this is the first time this type of thing is happening in Nigeria. Out of almost 12 Chief of Security, the remaining 2, Fire Service and the Navy staff, Navy Chief, is from the north, and the remaining is from the north, which is wrong. They should look into it.
Now, Mr. Victor, let me just ask you, do you think Nigeria has any reason to celebrate?
Hello, sir.
Do you think Nigeria has a reason to celebrate 58 years?
I'm not hearing you.
Oh, all right. You can't hear us.
I'm talking about this education.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at the budget. You know, sir, that in this country, our budget performance is an eyesore. It's a serious problem. I don't think we used to perform up to 30% of our budget. And then now we manage. From January till August, budget of a country is not ready. Each time you have budget on education, the funds are not even released. That is why our university is known as ASU. ASU strike all the time, because funds are not released. They cannot even pay them very well. And that is why private universities seems to be doing better than federal universities and state universities now.
Do you even think the next year budget can be ready?
That's the point.
Because the National Assembly has been on recess for 2 months now.
Currently, the best university in Nigeria is Covenant University.
Owned by a certain individual.
637
in the world.
In the world. While UI, University of Ibadan, is 677. So, if you talk about government-owned university and their ranking, it means the best university, government-owned university in Nigeria is UI. That is ranked
below Covenant University. When did we start Covenant University?
Now,
how did we get here?
Now, when you look at all these things, you know, in 2011, our president, during the presidential debate, he wept openly. And Nigeria believed that this man has something to offer, and he was denied the opportunity to offer Nigeria that which was lacking. And 2015, Nigerians overwhelmingly voted for him. And lucky enough, we have a president, sitting president then, that is also God-guided. And he willingly relinquished power. Because if it were to be some African countries, Nigeria is supposed to be a war-torn country by now. And he was given that goodwill, and he came to power. What are we experiencing now? You say that, yes, the bloodshed, the killings and all that we are seeing is the gift, is what the president is offering Nigerians? Then let's look at even the economy. Nigeria just came out of recession. Are you sure Nigeria is out of recession? No? We are still in recession. Because a country that cannot pay 18,000 naira, because the president is saying that governors cannot pay 18,000 naira. And these same governors, they have, some of them have more than 2,000 aides. These same governors, their security vote it runs into billions. And they cannot pay 18,000 naira. Just some days ago, news filtered in the social media, not only in the social media, that the president's wife's aide was arrested for 2.something billion, 2.5 billion. And we are talking about 2.5 billion for a president who cannot afford 45 million naira presidential ticket form. Now, who are we deceiving? Who are we deceiving?
Okay. Sorry, sir. Yes, talking about this minimum wage. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Talking about this minimum wage. I got some figures here.
Okay.
That for you to register WAEC, you need 13,000. NECO, you need 11,000. JAM, you need maybe 6,000 thereabout. And that is about 30,000 thereabout. You need 30,000 to register all this just to get ordinary first school living certificate. And then when you are employed, you need just 18,000 naira as your salary. You cannot even get it.
Well, maybe.
Does it make any sense?
Well, let's take a break. Let's take a break. You can be part of this program. It's live, coming to you from ACNN today. I think I lost Dr. Laleke from South Africa. We'll try and reconnect you back to just wrap up your thoughts on that. Stay tuned while we just watch this clip by the Vice President and Bishop Puka.
But I worry about our collective cynicism, about our country, and I worry that when you speak in favor of Nigeria, Nigerians will think that either you're looking for a position or government must have offered you something. And it's a very worrying thing because we have all become obsessed, with the whole idea that our country is not working, and we're the ones who are facing most of the problems of the world. The issues, therefore, for which we are contesting are profound. I come from northern Nigeria. And for me, what we are facing now, what the larger section of Nigeria is facing now, are some of the issues that somebody like myself has been contesting for more than 30 years. It was the subject of my PhD thesis on power politics in northern Nigeria. Because I live in northern Nigeria, and I live with feudalism, not with democracy. And it is also, for me, very interesting. These are very exciting moments in Nigeria. With all the convulsion, they're very exciting moments. Because for the first time, every Nigerian is angry. The reasons may be different. The reasons may be different. But this is one of the first times This is one of those rare times in Nigeria that all of us are angry at the same time. And you know, Tolstoy said, the Russian writer, he said, every unhappy family is unhappy differently. So the important thing is that all of us are unhappy. And I believe that the president is unhappy because this is not the Nigerian he sacrificed for. I am happy. I'm unhappy. The beggar who is lying under the bridge is unhappy. We're all unhappy. Now, how we progress and who sacrifices what, that is the issue. But I don't think anybody who understands the dynamics of democracy should for any moment suggest that freedom of speech can be circumscribed by any stretch of the imagination. But unfortunately, you know, we are in Nigeria, we live in Nigeria, where the only freedom that people concede to you is freedom to agree with them. And yet, you know, democracy is about managing, you know, these difficulties. And when you have a country like Nigeria with such incredibly gifted and brilliant people, you know, it's a very difficult thing to teach a class of brilliant children. So anybody who wants to govern Nigeria must be prepared to cope with our anger, to cope with our very constructed and efficient argument about how things ought to be and why where we are is not where we are supposed to be. Now, what people do with that is completely different.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, nation building in its classical sense really just refers to the formal and informal processes by which political leadership attempt to build a national identity, a national ethos, a national spirit, especially in ethnically and religiously diverse societies. But it is my own thesis that while government's role is in casting the vision and creating the environment for nationhood, the real building of nations is done and best seen through the accomplishments of many outside of political leadership. Men and women in business, in agriculture, in education, in entertainment, and the arts, who by just doing their business diligently, or serving faithfully, or making sacrifices, contribute to building the economies and social systems that ultimately build the nation. So there's no doubt at all from what Anita Isong says in her book, and also from experience, that grand corruption remains the most enduring threat to our economy. Just to give an example, $3 billion was stolen in what was called the so-called Strategic Alliance Contract sometime in 2013. 3 Nigerians were responsible. Today, $3 billion is 1 trillion naira. Our budget, the entire budget, and budgets are estimates, not actual cash, is 7 trillion. So if 3 people made away with 1 trillion, and the entire national budget is 7 trillion, you cannot wonder how come it is that the economy will struggle. When oil in our country was selling for $100 to $114 a barrel, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, nation building in its classical sense really just refers to the formal, a tribe or religion are inextricably tied together. What affects one affects all. And how about the young men and women of the police and armed forces who lay their lives on the line daily to protect us? The story of late Colonel Muhammadu Abu Ali has been told often. As commander of the 272 Task Force Battalion, his battalion was responsible for the recapture of Bama, Baga, Monguno, and later Konduga. He was decorated for bravery and excellence. He was decorated for bravery and excellence. He had become a terror to Boko Haram insurgents, but he and 4 others were killed in an ambush. He was just 36 years old, survived by a wife and 3 children. The story of the late Sergeant Chukwudi Igboko went viral when he confronted armed robbers in a daylight robbery at the Zenith Bank in Owerri, Imo State. He killed one of the robbers He killed one of the robbers. But the robbery was foiled, but he and another officer, Sergeant Sunday Agbo, died of the gunshot injuries that they sustained during the attack. Both of them left wives and children. It is to these men and women who fight to defend our nation from terrorism and crime that we owe the preservation of our nationhood. Some of them do not die, they just lose their limbs, they lose their sight, they lose their hearing. The widows and widowers and children of these brave men and women bear the pain and anguish of loss by themselves for many years.
Thank you for staying tuned with us. This is Nigeria at 58, assessing the performance of our government since independence. Now, I still have my guest in the house, Reverend Canon Benjamin Agwejume and Reverend Canon Smarts. I think I lost Dr. Samuel Olaleko from South Africa there. Yeah, but now let's look at the previous government, especially let's look at from 1999 up till now. I think we've had 4 presidents, that's including the one there now. How will you rate their performances? I mean, looking at Obasanjo's 8 years, some people have said he did well. Some have said he's part of those who brought us here.
Well, if I'm to rate all those who have ruled us since 1999, among them, the one I will rate with the highest percentage is Olusegun Obasanjo. Because during the time of Olusegun Obasanjo, the debt profile of Nigeria was very, very high as a result of military rule. And during his rule, the debts were paid. He opened up the telecom industry by creating jobs for Nigerians. And not only the telecom industry, even the medium scale businesses were given that support. And you see, because if really you want to affect the lives of your citizens, those women who are selling akara and others must be given you must create a good environment for their businesses to strive. But though it also have its own areas of failures, but Obasanjo tried. In area of creating job, in area of security, he tried. He tried his best. Only that he could not do much in the Niger Delta area, which Yar'Adua built on by declaring amnesty for the Niger Delta that brought peace to the Niger Delta area.
Yeah.
But when you look...
As a matter of fact, some people have even rated him as one of the presidents with good hearts.
Yar'Adua. Yes, Yar'Adua tried his best, but I see rate Obasanjo above Yar'Adua. Why? Because number one, if you want to maintain peace, they said an idle mind is the devil's workshop. You cannot talk of peace. You cannot talk of fighting insecurity when people are jobless. If a man has something doing, he can provide for his family. He will not think of other negative means of making money, because he will feel that, yes, I have a genuine means. I have a job doing to cater for my family. But in a situation whereby a man has a family of maybe 6 or 7 and has nothing doing, he cannot provide for his family, then he will take up arms or look for other alternative to provide for his family. And that is what is really causing insecurity in our country. Then if you look at other areas, yes, we may say that, yes, this president, current president, is trying. But I don't really see any tangible effort. I don't really see anything, because what I'm just seeing is pure nepotism. No job creation, insecurity, economy.
We have a caller, Joseph from Bauchi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Joseph, speak on.
Hello?
Mr.
Hello?
Joseph, go ahead.
Okay. I see no reason why Nigeria should celebrate the independence anniversary. Due to what is going on in the country is very, very wrong.
Okay. I think you've made your point. It's saying there's no reason why Nigeria should celebrate.
So Nigeria is even more divided now than before.
Colonel Smith, I want us to look at the time between OBJ, Yar'Adua, and Jonathan.
Yeah.
Someone said when OBJ, just like that day also said, when OBJ was there, I think Nigeria's debt profile was about $30 billion, and which was cleared. But as at now, we've doubled it. And mostly there's nothing to show for it.
Exactly.
So what has happened between the period when Yar'Adua took over till now?
Yeah, let me start by saying that the leadership we have had over time in this country is nothing but accidental leadership. Our leaders are not always prepared. They find themselves there, including those who have contested for several periods, like the incumbent who has did it for third time, and the fourth time he had the opportunity. It's still like they are not prepared for leadership. And that is why we have most of these problems that we have. Reason being that the moment they are there, it's as if there is a certain force in Aso Rock that is holding them down.
From performing.
From performing. You understand? But the reason for most of these things is the fact that there is no political will to do what is right. What do I mean? Once you have become the president of a nation, irrespective of where you come from, you are now the president. And because you are now the president, what is expected is to be sure that everybody, every Nigerian becomes your son. And you ensure that you take care of their welfares and bring policies that will make things work well.
For them.
Systems that can work, create enabling environment and everything. But you see, from the current administration, his body language alone make a lot of investors to leave this country. Now let's go back to the OBJ. He took over from the military, and there were a lot of problems that he inherited. But God used him, and he was able to clear some of those debts, not without the help of technocrats that he brought on. They were the one that helped him. But later at some point, you know, he started having problems with some of those technocrats. Like Ngozi had to practically leave the place because the economic blueprint of the country that was written was not followed. So certain things started going bad. But all the same, we will say that during his time, a lot of achievement was, we were able to achieve a lot. Teachers were able to start riding motorcycle during his time. During his time, that was when people started knowing that the work of a teacher is actually an honorable job. compared to when he's coming before. So a lot of things were opened up. During Yaradua, the amnesty and so many other things were stabilized, country were stabilized, but he lived for 2 years, barely 2 years.
Yes, a short time,
Goodluck took over. And during Goodluck Jonathan, particularly in the electoral processes, a lot of good things was done. We started having free and fair election. It is during his time. Before, you can't hear the governor. There are just few states, Lagos, Zamfara, and Borno. These are the places you will hear that either AAPP then or ACN, you know, they were the one that can win it. But these other states, it has to be PDP. But during Jonathan, a lot of these things was no longer so. You know, people's votes counted, and then so many other parties come.
Okay, let's pick this call from Lagos. Chibueze, are you there?
I'm talking about the security in Nigeria. There's nothing like security, and there is no need of security measure, because when you look at the security, you understand that the people called the chief security are from the northern side, and what they are doing is in their own favor. If you come out to the in the name of the university, you will find out that there are people admission more than that tribe. But it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not what we see in Nigeria today. We youth now, we are the youth in the church that they are calling the leaders of tomorrow. But when you look at it, the youth are suffering more than them. So it's not supposed to be like that. When we ask for the mission of our choice,
so
but there's nothing like that. Rather, there will be driving.
So I look at it in another perspective. Let's look at, has there been continuity in government? Because I think that's one of the major areas we need to look into going forward. Now, are there continuity in government? One of the challenges we see now is when the government does something, another one abandons it and brings up its own. So it makes a lot of things not to go well. So do you think there has been continuity between this successive democracy looking at 1999 up to now? It will be 20 years next year.
Wow. No, there's nothing like continuity in Nigeria. And that is why most of our plans are all in short terms, not in long terms, because we know that each government that comes in place knows that the next one will not continue with its policy. So whatever policy they are putting in place are short terms. If you look at most of our governors, they don't invest in areas or businesses
that will affect the masses. They will only put money in areas of economic areas that can only last within the time limit when they will stay in office. And that is why Nigeria is not progressing. Take, for example, Ajaokuta Steel Company. The Ajaokuta Steel Company has been there. That is a company that will provide millions of jobs. And it will have chain effect on the economy. It was started, it's not during Shagari's period.
1979.
And a lot of money. How much? The money that the Paris Club reform that was returned some months ago that the vice president is going about distributing, if they put that money into Ajaokuta Steel Company, it will do Nigeria more favor, because it will provide job opportunity for Atimin youth. It will provide businesses for those women. They are distributing 5,000 because election is here and they know that they have failed and they have not performed. So it's quick fix. Where will this one take us to? Basanjo came in, he did his quick fix. Yaradua came in. Unfortunately, he did not see the end of his tenure. Jonathan came in, he was advised on quick fix. Now, the man who wept.
And a lot of stealing under him.
Yes, the man who wept. Who wept during a presidential debate, making Nigerians to feel that he has a lot to offer, was given the platform and the opportunity and the goodwill. What do we get in return? Instead of even, if you cannot provide and add value to what you have, it's also good you maintain the status quo. But today, more than 10 million has lost their jobs within 3 years. So instead of even creating jobs, people are losing their jobs. The bag of rice that they used to buy for 7,000 naira is now 17,000 naira. A liter of fuel that we used to buy for 87 naira is now 155 naira. Power that we used to pay very less is now it has been increased astronomically. Now, with my brother,
and the power is not even there.
The power is not even there.
Now,
and we are celebrating.
Let's just take it.
And we say we are in, today. If you see our government running to China for loans, and China are ready to give Nigeria this loan according to their own terms, and we say we are celebrating independence when we cannot do anything for ourselves, we cannot do anything on our own without relying on them. Is that independence? Is that sovereignty?
Well, let's take it home as we round up this section before we move into another section.
Yeah.
Looking forward, what do you think Nigeria should be looking up to? Thank God there's another election year coming up. Which kind of leadership should we be looking to?
Well, before I get to which kind of leadership we should be looking at, I think that Nigeria as a nation needs a blueprint or a plan, both short and long-term plan. For example, United Arab Emirates, when they discovered their oil, they knew already when the oil will finish. And they look inward. How are we going to sustain ourselves after oil? And they went into tourism. And they were able to build skyscrapers that attract people all over the world. Everybody with a small money will go to Dubai for holiday and what have you. And that nation is being sustained. I think as a country, we should also look inward. We will have to look at life after oil. What happens? Countries are already creating electric cars, solar cars,
fossil fuels and coal.
So that we will no longer need fuel. Countries of the world may no longer need fuel in the long run, meaning that fuel prices will crash. What is our plan? Now, since we have the geographical location, virtually there is no place in this country that you can plant something that will not germinate. Even on your roof, if you leave it for some time, you put something, it will spring up. This is how blessed we are in this nation. I think we should look at the agriculture and find a way of doing a long-term plan that will sustain this nation. That is one aspect. Then the second aspect is the area of leadership. We need someone that the moment he becomes the president, he must see every Nigerian as his own, irrespective of the region you comes from.
Or the tribe.
Because, yes, and the tribe. Nigeria was amalgamated in 1914 for the ease of administration and what have you. So we were brought together. We will not say that it was Lugard or the British government that did that. This is a divine arrangement. God so did it that we will come together. So whoever that becomes president, tribalism should not be an option. When you are tribalistic, when there is nepotism, then certain things will not be right. So we need a neutral man, a young man who have ideas, who can take us to the promised land.
Yes, we will look at that in the last segment of this program, looking at the young people and their preparation towards 2019. I will just leave you with this video to tell you, just like the Acnn has started it, I will throw up a video by one of the former governor of eastern part of this country to give us his own insight into stuff. That's Peter Obi. So while we wait for that video, we'll be coming back to talk about youth preparation and to round it up for this year's Independence Day celebration. Thank you for staying.
How did we get, as a philosopher, unexamined life is not worth living. So my first question is, how did we get here? Is to ask ourselves, how did we get that we're divided is no longer an issue. Everybody knows that. But how did we get here? Looking for that, how we arrived here, becomes part of our building the solution to solving it. How are we going to get out of this mess we found ourselves? If you look at what is happening in Nigeria today, whether you call it, I say it every day, whether you call it divided Nigeria, what is our problem? We have a nation that is divided. We're not talking about division now along ethnic lines only. We have religious lines. We have even elite class clashes because of disparity of income and everything, which shouldn't be. So you have a crisis. We have issue of security of all forms, whether it's the security of life and property and any other forms of security. And two, have an economy that is heading south. No matter what anybody tells you. Every head, our chief of DMO was saying yesterday that our debt is just 21.7 trillion, $70 billion. And he said it's not that when you compare it to our GDP, it's 17%, when we should have about maybe about 30 or 40. The question is not how much you owe, but what did you use the one you borrowed to do? Borrowing money is not a problem. I lived all my life, I've always borrowed money. But did you invest it? Or did you use it for consumption? When you're borrowing for consumption, you're heading for a disaster. When you're borrowing for wedding and to bury your parents that didn't save anything to be buried with, you're heading for a disaster. So it's not about how much we owe. Forgetting that in year 2007, all our debts were cancelled. So why did we get here? What did we use it? Where are the bridges? Where are the roads? What we use it to do? That is the challenge. That is the question.
You're welcome back. We are still on Independence Day of Nigeria, Nigeria at 58. And we've been on the studio with Reverend Canons Smart and Abuja. Thank you for staying here and for being with us once again. So we want to look on the youths now. We want to talk about the youths now. And I just want to throw this to you. The youths, leaders of today or tomorrow, is an open discussion. I want to know, what's your take? Let me start from Canon Smart.
Yeah, it has always been youth are the leaders of tomorrow, but it is no longer so. Youth are the leaders of today. The reason being that youths are within the age of the most productive age, so to say.
Okay.
They have the energy, they have the power, they can innovate, and what have you. Okay? So, a lot of us today, we are already leaders in various organizations, in churches, and what have you, still within the age of a youth. And a lot of us are doing well in those various positions. So I'm sure that if youth are also given opportunities in terms of governance, they will also do well. But that is not to say that every youth is a leader of today.
Okay.
Youths who are ready, who are prepared, who have the while without, can be said they are leaders of today. Because there are a lot of lousy youths and lazy youth, like Mr. President would say, here and there. Okay. So it's not that every person who is a youth must be a leader. Those who are called and born leaders, they are already doing well. And I think that opportunities should be given to them to lead.
Okay. Okay, let me come to you, Canon Agbejume. I want you to weigh in on this. You know, owing to the fact that during speeches, the people in the government, they usually say youths are the leaders of tomorrow, or let me even say today. I want to ask: are the youths given the rightful positions, even attentions, in our today's politics?
Well, my answer will be in the affirmative.
Okay.
Whether if they are given the
rightful positions and attentions,
I will say, well, somehow they are not given the rightful position, and somehow they are given the rightful position.
Okay, can you?
Because when I say from 1960 to 1970, between 70, okay, let's say between 84, we say, yes, the youths are given the rightful position. You must understand what I'm saying.
Exactly.
But from that 1984 till date, when money bags and Curtis took over the governance of this country, the position of the youth has been relegated to the background. Because if we say that the youths are the leaders of tomorrow, there is nothing like such. The youths are the leaders of today. At what age do the youth take position of leadership, even in the family? Most people, most youth who are getting married, they get married at the age between 25, 40. Because if you are 40 and you are not yet married, they will tell you a fool at 40 is a fool forever. So if you are, yes, between the age of 25 and 40, that is where you see the activeness of the human person. They are very charismatic, they think very fast, and they are very energetic. And that is where, because that is when you direct the energy of the youth to a profitable area where they can be profitable, both in the family and in the society. Because at the age of 50, 60, you are close to the departure lounge. You are supposed to take the back seat and play an advisory role.
You should be a consultant. At 60, you are a consultant.
At 60, even in our civil service
that's when you retire.
that is when 60, you have already retired.
Expected to retire.
If you look at countries that are growing in terms of economy, in terms of politics, in terms of technology, you see that their youths are actively involved, and most of those who are playing, who are occupying one leadership role or the other in those countries are youths. Look at just the UNGA, the UN United Nations General Assembly that took place in US recently. Most of our elders who went there were sleeping. But I don't think if you take a youth who is ready to give out, who is ready to learn, and because the social media today is dominated by youths. Even this current government was brought in by youth because it was the youth that did the dirty job in the social media. So youth are not leaders of tomorrow, they are leaders of today. And the reason why Nigeria is failing is because we see youth as leaders of tomorrow, and those who are 80 and above are leaders of today. And we continue to remain where we are until we bring the youth on board.
Okay, I want us to look at the kind of youths we have in Nigeria today. Now, we have talented, skilled Nigerian youths. Sometimes we don't seem to know that, but when we look at the foreign scene, how the youths of Nigerians perform academically and otherwise, we'll be able to say or see that we really have talents in Nigeria. But most of the time you notice that what we possess innately are being undermanaged or mismanaged or not really managed well. So youths, the vibrancy of youths are usually channeled on the negative sides. You see the youths participating in lots of negative things, vices, and being used by these same leaders for the negative things. I want to know what's your take on that, Canon?
My take on that would be that enabling environment has not been created for our youths today. And that is why whenever they are abroad, they are out of this country, you see them excelling. Because enabling environment has been created for them to thrive. Now, I was listening to a guy who is a first-class graduate in electronics.
Okay.
And as a first-class graduate, he said, look, I have created a lot of apps. Whenever there is an accident now, there is an app I can create. The moment accident happens, it will send signal to the road safety, and they will know the exact location through the GPS to be able to get there. But this young man is wallowing away, no support from anywhere. If you take him abroad, in a non-distant time, you will hear him pim. Robotic engineer in the United States is a Nigerian. So many of them like that are doing well. We don't even have NEPA. You wake up in the night, you cannot even have NEPA to power your laptop for you to be able to do anything.
Daddy, so, let me hold you for a moment. We have a caller, Chibeze from.
Put the leaders of today, which are the youth.
Okay.
The youth are not giving the right to perform as a leader. They are not giving the chance.
Chibeze, can you speak up a bit so we can hear you?
If they would give us chance to lead in the country, I believe that will be more better in the country. So, and I know that if they give us the chance to use in Nigeria, things will change land for Nigeria.
Okay. Chibeze is calling for chance for the youths. The same thing we are talking about. Yeah. The youths need to be managed well. They need chance to express what they have and what they know. But I want to know, with the realities of today, are the youths well informed? Are we ready for this political seat, for the leadership positions? Let me come to Canon Abuja.
Well, the youths are not well informed. Why am I saying this? Because the political space has been dominated by money bags and those who feel that leadership is a do-or-die affair. And a kind of scenario has been created, poverty situation has been created in the society. So the youth are easily, especially those that are jobless, are easily influenced by these money bags and power-hungry politicians. And many of them, they find it even difficult supporting their fellow youths. Many of them, they find it because they say, he who plays the piper dictates the tune. So they play, into the interest of those that will give them little money, that will sustain them for 1 or 2 days. And after those 2 days, they will go into crime. So if we say that, yes, the youths, seriously, the current leadership of our country, even president who said he has signed the youth
not
too young to run bill. What effort has he made for his own party to sell the presidential nomination
exactly. I was going to come to that since you're already there.
45 million, governorship for 22.5, senatorial. Then you ask yourself, who is deceiving who? Who is deceiving who? Living like what my brother said earlier, there is no youth in this country that has nothing to offer. Even those ones that we call their lazy youths. No Nigerian, because if it's easy, try and cross the Sahara Desert through the Mediterranean Sea to Europe. You will know that no Nigerian youth is lazy. For a youth to take that risk, because he knows fully well that when he gets to Europe, he has a better chance of getting something to do, to sustain himself and his family. So they put their life at risk because our government has failed them. Look at China. You don't depend on paper certificate before you will be an engineer. You don't depend on paper certificate before you be a civil engineer. It is what you can offer. Many of them are very, very good in craft. So you see the government encouraging them. And when you know how to do you have professionalized in that craft, they issue you a certificate. The same, most of our engineers that are professors, many of them cannot even fix their car tire. And it's a PhD holder in mechanical engineering. Then when you look at it, makes mockery of what we are talking about. There is nothing like lazy Nigeria. I don't believe in what the president said at all, that what we have are lazy Nigerians. No Nigerian youth is lazy. When you go to all these areas, go to all this mechanic and where this, go to Apo, go and see how youths are hustling to survive. How has the government encouraged the youth?
If I can add something to that, youth and politics, there has been deliberate policy and attempt over the years to shut the youth out of politics. What the youth in Nigeria are good at, according to our leaders of today, is for them to be political thugs, to be giving them peanut, 2,000, 3,000. They have shut them out because we are running a politics
of money.
The politics has been so monetized that when, as a youth, you are vying for a position, you need a godfather who will sponsor you. So that when you get there, you dance to his tune. The moment you don't accept what your political godfather tells you, then your future is on. Like what is playing in Lagos.
Ambode and Tinubu. Is it true?
So the point is that this too young to run bill is just a deception.
It's a deception.
Why do I say it's a deception? You did not reduce money. You do not do anything. You only reduce age. Are they going to use their clothes or their intestine to pay for the form?
Even the bill is supposed to be not. It's a too old to run bill, not too young. Too old to run. Once you are 60. Once you are 60,
you don't run again.
You don't run again. You're supposed to play an advisory role. You're supposed to play an advisory consultant.
So I want us to calm down a little bit, because we are talking about leadership in a whole. Some people are of the opinion that they are born leaders, while some are made leaders. So I want to know, in the family scene, what can the parents do while raising their children to imbibe that good leadership qualities in their children, good morals, so that they don't, even before they are exposed to the society, they don't grow up being political thugs or engaging themselves in the negative things. What role can the parents play in this?
Well, every human being is a born leader. Okay. I say every human being, not some.
Okay.
It depends on the kind of environment you are born into that influences you. Because if you are born into a kind of environment that is volatile, even if you have those leadership qualities in you, it will take divine grace for you to begin to show them. Okay. Because when the environment you are born into or you grow in is not a kind of environment that is friendly, you grow up to be what the environment makes you to be.
Exactly. Okay.
Like what my brother said in the case of godfatherism. The situation in our environment, in our society today, even if you are a born leader as a youth, you cannot really express or show your potential because the room is not there. A barrier, a barricade has been placed on the youth who have those potentials because of the kind of environment. Because today, I don't think that some of our youth who are married today, because once you are 25, 30, 40, 50, they are married. They are youths. We are not the ones telling them how to rule their homes. They are leaders in their right, in their various families. But when it comes to the society, we say they are not good enough to be leaders. If a man can manage his home, if a man can manage his family, why can't that man manage a particular responsibility in the society? Yeah. So, seriously, every human being, every youth is a born leader. It depends on the kind of environment and society that influences that. That is why you will see a youth that is not doing well in Nigeria. If he travels out of the shore of Nigeria, he will have a first class. You will see that youth becoming something better than when he left Nigeria. Why? Because it's the kind of environment, the atmosphere created for you to strive. But when the atmosphere is not good for you to strive, even if you have the potential, if you have the qualities, you will die with them in Nigeria here.
So we need an enabling environment. Wow.
If I can also say that as parents, we also need to lead by example in our various homes. When you grow up in a home that is having irresponsible parent, there is every probability to have irresponsible children unless God intervened, unless they made the Lord at some point and certain wrongs has been corrected. So parent must lead by example, because we learn by what we see
Whatever I'm doing now, my son monitors me. He know what I'm doing, and then sometimes when I'm not watching him, he wants to do what daddy is doing.
You are like an icon to him.
Exactly. Every father or parent are the heroes of their children. They look up to you. So how you live your life is very, very important to your children. Then if we can also bring in the aspect of teach your children morals, teach them the word of God, teach them morals, because there is a lot of immorality and irresponsibility in our society today. So parents who teach their children morals and teach them the word of God, they are only preparing them of becoming a better leader.
Okay, with judging from all we've said and with the quality of youths we have in the present day in Nigeria, are we competent enough? Are the youths competent enough to unseat the elderly ones who have refused to leave these positions, these leadership positions? Are they competent enough?
I would say yes, they are. We have 100 Emmanuel Macron in Nigeria who can do what Macron is doing and can even do it better. Now, what to do to unseat the old, too old to run, is for the youth to vie for position of National Assembly, House of Representatives, Senate, and State House of Assembly. When youths occupy all those positions, the first thing they get there to do is to amend the Constitution. Amend it in such a way that it can compete with other nations of the world. Because I see Constitution as part of our problems in this country. If youths get all these positions and they're able to amend the Constitution in such a way that you don't need millions of naira to buy a political form, political interest form or nomination form, then from there they can take up.
Okay.
Why not put a restriction in the form and say you from 5 million downward, and the money you would need to use for your campaign as a president, you should not spend more than 100 million naira. We should not do money politics in this country. So until certain restrictions has been placed, then it's going to be very, very difficult for the youth to unseat. Now, all those ones that are contesting for position of president, I'm telling you, by the time results come out, it will be ridiculous because they are not, youths are not ready.
Wow. Okay. I want to know, can the youths that we have right now, can they work hand in hand with these elderly ones without fear of intimidation, fear of favor, you know, or interferences? Let me come to you.
They cannot work with the old ones without interferences.
Okay.
Because there must be, like what I said earlier, that he who plays the piper dictates the tune. The youths are not financially buoyant as the elderly ones. So the elderly ones, they have the stick, they have the carrot, or the knife and the yam. So if they cut for you, they tell you how to cook it. Or if you are to roast it, they will tell you how to roast it. If you fail to do what they ask you to do, like what we made reference to in the case of Ambode and Tinubu, the man to Lagosians, the governor is performing. The man is bulldozing and working and developing Lagos. But the person who put him there said the man has not performed
to master plan.
Because
which master plan?
He refused. That is it. And now you want to unseat him at all costs.
And bring another one. That
that will be loyal to him.
That he can remove control.
So I can say two cannot work together. Except they are what? They are one. Okay. So there is no way, when you say two youth now, I will say yes. But for an elderly man that is close to his grave, to work with a youth who is vibrant, who is ready to express his potential, his vision, that is not in tandem with that of the older man that still believes in analog. Okay. There is no way analog and digital can work together. Okay. It's either you give way, the analog must give way for the digital, because we are in a digital era. So that was why I said, once you are above 60, you're supposed to take the back bench and play an advisory role to the youth to perform. But when you say, no, I will still be at the driving seat.
I must die there.
I must die there.
Sit tight.
Look at what our president said when he traveled to UN, that he needs the support of both international and Nigerians in diaspora to support him. That if they support him and he wins the next election, and God, he knows that, yes, that if he's alive for the next 4 years, he will do better. What are we talking?
If he is alive.
Okay.
What are we talking?
We've been able to
why not give the youth who can do it?
We've been able to deduce that the policies, the constitution, they don't favor the youths. That even the not too young to run bill that was signed by the president is just like giving the youths hope when we don't actually meet. So what I want to know, is there anything with the way youths are emasculated, with the way they are being pushed aside, is there anything these elderly ones are hiding in these political positions? Is there anything they are keeping away from the youths that is making them push the youths away from these particular positions we want from? Because Nigeria is being kept stationary, kept at a position.
We are standstill.
We are not moving.
Yes.
Instead, it seems as if we are drawing back.
Yes.
So, is there anything?
My brother, there is something there. If na you unko, when you are there, budget has been done already for your wardrobe allowances, for your vehicles, furniture allowances, haircut, newspaper, which one again? Kitchen utensils. Wow. Everything has been captured in the budget. Your own is to sit down and enjoy.
Even your coffee allowances, your coffee, the day you will die, the death you have not even died now, the one you will die in the next 10 years, they have started budgeting for the allowance. The burial, they have started budgeting for it.
So, with all these things, you go there and you want to run in a hurry. They are not in a hurry. They are not in a hurry to live there. And besides, my brother, the moment you become a governor, my brother, your life don't better. Why do I say so? The moment you are a governor, do you know the package they give a governor when you retire? The package for the president, their retirement benefit.
Wow.
My brother, they change your cars, you are entitled to house in Abuja and in your state capital. They give you money. I learned that a particular governor that is making noise now, who is now a former governor, collect almost 200 million naira in a month as is a package.
Wow. Okay, Canons, I want us to speak to the youths directly now. There are youths out there that are watching us presently. They are hopeful. They don't have anyone to manage them. They don't have anyone to lend them that helping hand. They don't have the means to leave the country for a better environment. What's your advice to these youths?
Well, my advice to the youths is that don't pull your fellow youth down because of an elderly man who believes that he can buy you over with a little amount of money. Because if that elderly man buys you over with a little amount of money, to pull your fellow youth down, who is supposed to be there to build the future of your children, you have pulled your destiny down. The only thing that the youths can do to better the lives of Nigerians is not to be political talks. Because none of those politicians that are above 50, 60, 70, 80 are using their children for thuggery. Many of them, their children, those politicians, they are children in Harvard University. Some of them are in Birmingham University. Some of them are in Oxford University. None of them. And when they finish, they will finish their masters, finish their PhD, and come and take over from their father.
Okay.
While you will remain and die in that abject poverty.
Wow.
So it will be better.
Okay.
It will be better. Not we clamoring for not too young to run bill. Me, I did not support that bill any day. If the bill they signed was too old to run bill, that was what the youth they push, I would have been happy.
Okay, let me hold you there, Canon. Please, I want to put you on the spot, Canon Smart.
Yeah, please,
if a youth emerge in one of the political parties, the major political parties, and the youth emerge as a sole candidate, will you vote for the youth, and why?
Yeah, as it is now, I will vote for a youth because the older ones were given no opportunity. What did we get from the opportunity we have given them? So, all of them, we've been trying them. My brother, all the presidents in this country, we've been trying them because we want a better life. And they have not succeeded either. Let's try a youth to see if he can change certain things. So I will vote for a youth. I already have a candidate I will vote for come 2019.
Wow.
Yes. So for me, my personal advice would be that youth, don't sell your future to any politician. Don't, for the sake of 5,000, even if it is 1 million naira. It does not amount to anything. Don't. Stand for the truth and do what is right. I want youth of today to be Joseph of this generation. Joseph had no backing from anybody, but he rose up to become a prime minister at age 30. No backing. Why? He was faithful. He was focused. He knew where he was going because he had a dream. Joseph had a dream of becoming a leader, and he became. Youth, have a dream, have a vision. No matter how big the dream is, have it and work towards it and be focused.
Wow.
I'm sure that you can become a president, a senator, whatever you desire.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Youths, you've heard it. Dream big. Just dream big. Don't be economical with your dreams. Just dream big and work towards it. Work towards it. We've been able to deduce that the policies do not favor the youths. The constitution do not favor the youths. The elders, they don't have the interest of the youths at heart. Okay. Before we conclude, we have a caller. So let's just attend to the caller. Manasseh from
And
Benue.
I want to contribute to advise the youth. You know, those youth that do give their access to be used by these too old to run politicians. They should show themselves useful, because what God invested in them, they don't have to give it out so that these too old to run will take them as ungranted. By giving them 5,000, 3,000 to go and rig election or do whatever they want. So let the youth show themselves as important, people in Nigeria, so that those people will know that without them, they can do nothing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manasseh. Thank you. He's advising the youths not to sell their future. All right, it's Independence Day. I feel we should pray for Nigeria's liberation before we'll call this segment off. So, Canon Abejume, please, just say a word of prayer for Nigeria.
Well, Father, we thank you for another Independence Day. Even though we have leaders that are still enslaving the masses, and that are still placing huge burden and suffering on the masses. God, deliver us from bad leaders.
Amen.
Deliver us from evil leaders.
Amen.
Deliver us from blood-sucking leaders.
Amen.
And make Nigeria a peaceful nation, a prospering nation, a nation that will glorify you, a nation that is built on the foundation of truth, peace, and justice, a nation that is built on the word of God, that your purpose for Nigeria will be attained. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. On that note, we want to bring this segment to a close. Remember, it's been Nigeria at 58 Independence Day program. So with that, we want to wish Nigerians and all well-wishers of Nigerians happy Independence Day. Stay blessed.
Views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and viewers and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN.